Hello, my name is Donny McNichol of Team Animation, and I'd like to talk to you about developing organisational leadership capability. So this is at organisational level for all the different aspects that you need to consider and work on if you're trying to develop that organisational capability. So to start with, you need to think about what is it you actually want to develop for the organisation, and it's very useful to look at some critical future organisational capabilities. So the diagram that you see here on the right hand side is this little simple model that we developed. You think about the projects, the organisation, the professional capabilities and the customer market. So you're maybe thinking, let's just say 5 years from now, what are the types of projects that we're going to be required to be working on as an organisation? Where do we want to focus our business? The organisation itself, what are the capabilities we think are going to be most important to us for our success? So pardon me, not just the actual projects, but the areas that we want to be working in, the capabilities that we think are going to be key. The next one is around the professional capabilities that are required. Many professional organisations have got professional bodies behind them, and they change the direction. So whether you're quantity surveying or civil engineering or some other form of engineering or project management, they change the shape of what's required. What is future good practice? What does a good capability look like? So they actually help shape what the future looks like as well. You just need to think about the changes and possibly in a competence framework that's made by an industry body. Slowly but surely that starts to set a direction for an organisation. And finally is the customer market. You must be able to sell to the customer market. So what do your customers want in the future from you? So you're thinking about the customers, the projects, your own organisation, what you think you should be doing, and also the professional capabilities, all of which are shaping the future. I've just taken as one example here the kind of questions. So for the organisational consideration, what are the questions the project leader should be asking, and also the questions the organisation should ask. So you can use this model from an individual project leader. It's usually for an organisation could ask. So you are trying to look in the future. We've had course to use this a number of times with clients where there is no point in saying this is what we need as an organisation, now help us develop it. If it takes 12 to 24 months to develop that capability, it'll already be out of step. It'll be the past you're developing for. So what we often do, and we were asked by a client, and this is where the model came from, say we want to think about what we need to be capable at 5 years from now. Help us identify what that is, and then help us develop those capabilities, not what we need now, because by the time we've developed it, it's going to be too late. Then you need to think about the prioritisation. You can't do everything. So the model I'm showing here is very simple, very useful mapping. The axes are slightly strange in the way that the high and lows work, but it's a very good way of doing it. So you've got current capability going from high to low, and future importance from low to high. Well, that does, it gives you a kind of contour. And if you then add on some example competencies to that, what it's saying is anything down in the bottom left corner, so that's as in your current capability and of low and of future importance being low, that actually are not areas that you need to worry about, because one, the future is not potentially very important, and secondly, you're pretty good at it already. In the top right, where your current capability is low, but the future importance is high, those are the areas that you need to be thinking about as an organisation. So that could be around, for an example here, benefits, contract management, governance. So you think those are going to be critical for where we would like to go in a business, thinking back to that previous model with the 4 different considerations. And also our current capability is low, so that's where we've got to put most of our effort and energies and investment. Now, what we also thought about was, so if you get all of that clarity about what it is you want to do, you think, so what is the organisation doing to support you in developing, is the organisation developing those capabilities? And we came up with the Honeycomb Project Leadership Development Framework, and also on a diagnostic. And what it does is identifies 20 different aspects that need to be considered if you're looking to develop the organisational capability. Now I'm just taking the first 5 of these just to talk about briefly. So the first one, organisation, vision and roadmap. So clarity over where the organisation is going, what it needs to be successful, and the part project leaders or leadership plays in achieving this. So if you say that you've identified what are these critical capabilities, is that written right in at the organisational vision and roadmap? Do you see it in the annual report of the business saying these are the critical capabilities? Does that permeate across what the organisation says it is aiming to achieve? Second one is about the organisation values and culture. What is important to the organisation, the manner in which it works. So are these capabilities, do they align with the value and culture of the organisation? Of course, in most cases they will, but if you have got if you believe a future capability you've got to be very strong about is contracts and governance, but the organisation values culture is very towards informal agility, you need to think, well actually, have we got that right? If the organisation's saying this is what the kind of culture and so on, us going heavily towards strong contractual and governance approaches and frameworks, is that the right thing for us? 'Cause it doesn't quite match. Just take the last one as well, the talent strategy. Is it a clear and robust strategy that covers how the organisation will identify and grow the talent of tomorrow? If you know what these future capabilities are, do you have a talent strategy that links to that? So trying to identify the people that are capable of those things or have the capacity, the talent, if you will, to be good in those areas, and then finding them and then developing. So hopefully you can get an idea that if you've done the earlier steps that I've mentioned, by getting clear about where it is you need to be as an organisation, then prioritising the capabilities to say these are the key things. You can then use this this framework and diagnostic to say, so what could we do as an organisation? Away from just simply saying we will send people on a training course, or we will do a simple change project to tell everyone that we're change of focus. These 20 things identify root and branch all the various things that can be done within an organisation to help them improve their overall project leadership capability. Next one here, it just shows you a diagnostic that we've used a number of times with organisations to try and help them say, so where are you at the moment? And it's a simple diagnostic and self-scoring mechanism. Just allows leaders to look at and identify. Now the project, just to finish, the project leader's view, with all that going on, ultimately, the project leader doesn't need to be aware of the fact there are 20 underlying organisational things. They just say, well, I want some training, I want some development, I want to be evaluated, I want to be given execution opportunities to try it out, I want to be part of a community where I can add to and gain from, and I want some mentoring and coaching. So you need to remember that hidden behind the surface in many ways, all of what we've talked about, the project leaders you're developing don't need to be aware of all of that below the surface. These are the kind of 5 aspects that typically project leaders are interested in. If you can hide all of that stuff under the surface, so the community capability leaders, the program directors, and so on, those are the things they focus on. This is what the individual project leader wants to see, they want to focus on, so they're doing their part if the organisation does their part to develop the overall leadership capability. I hope that you have found that of interest and value, and thank you very much for watching the video.